desperately need those 2 winning lanes that they weren't able to find in game number 1, and one of those lanes needs to be Keens.
Well, now Dove is going to have to change his choice because Zoe is finally going to hit the ban list. That is going to be Afreeca's change, and you can imagine that Jace first pick is what they're looking for, but they're not going to find it. Sandbox are going to ban that one away. Ezreal left available here for aiming. They first picked it in game 1. Will they do it again in game 2?
I don't think I got them enough value, so right now they are looking to pick up just a ultra-reliable mid laner for Yukal. Not interested in him going for something with a bit more of an interactive laning phase. Happy for him to wave clear and then be looking for some roams.
Also doesn't have Zoe to contend with now in the mid lane, which is why Dove was giving him so much trouble in game number 1. I don't mind the pickup here, given the fact that it is a little bit of a different scenario.
I think Cassio could be considered by Sandbox, because Dove is a big-time mid-lane Cassio player, and you can try to farm it out against the Lissandra. Now, priority is, of course, a word that we throw out here and there and everywhere, and it is something that you would struggle with in the early levels if you're the Cassio.
Ooh, Tahm Kench going to be banned away here by Sandbox.
And it's also something that can take E and wave clear in mid, or be a complete bot lane for Ghost, who's played a lot of this Victor. So it's actually not showing anything about the Sandbox draft, but could contend with what was already locked in by Afreeca. So I really do like this first round here by Sandbox.
All right, so at the moment, the Kai'Sa is being hovered and looked at on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. Dangerous with Ezreal still available, but they are going to lock it away. A chance that this is the bottom lane for Sandbox, and a chance that Afreeca have decided that that's what it looks like. Down there towards the bottom side, Jelly going to go back towards the Braum. Pretty uninspired performance in game number 2, you have to say. Missing a lot of ultimates and not finding Winter's Bites on priority targets, but is going to head back there most likely. 7 seconds before they make that decision for sure.
Something that farms out really easily against the Tahm Kench, but yes, going for the aggressive side. Life is sitting somewhere, nodding his head and saying this is the way to go. Can work so well against Tahm Kench because 2-for-1 special Blitzcrank-esque. Possible with the right cask.
Yeah, don't need a Zac if you just throw a cask at a devouring Tahm Kench.
No one is daring to pick Urgot until this pick, where Sandbox could try to double ban against it, and yet there's always that edge of meta pick that wins lane against Urgot, and then you're kind of condemned to the spot you were in game number 1. So instead, Unfleek will take his jungle pick. I think fifth pick being the confirmation of the top laner is supremely likely by Sandbox, given that Jaces have decided this series so far. Double jungle ban possible against Dread, but is it necessary? Sandbox will give us the answer to that.
Yeah, we'll see whether Urgot's even going to be looked at here as well, because I feel like both of these top laners are pretty good at punishing Urgot picks, and they've demonstrated that thus far here today, as Braum is going to be banned away. An interesting one, given the fact that we'd assume that Gragas would be heading into the support position, as Cassio going to be the first one on the Afreeca side.
That is intriguing, that you would make this read and desperately not want Braum, because you look at the champions Sandbox have locked in, none of these champions are super hard countered by Braum, like an Orin is, for example. So,
yeah.
Given that, makes you wonder if Ezreal is going to be locked in by Ghost in the second round.
Well, Nocturne going to be banned away from Dread once again. Was in the first round in game number 2, but was in second round game number 1. Is going to follow suit there as the final ban. Darius taken away from Summit. We saw him play at mid lane. We saw him move towards the top side as well.
This ban says, Braum I'm talking about, I want to play something like Ezreal. The Darius ban says, I want to play Sion. So I'm interested to see how this is going to go. I'm just thinking about why ban these particular champions with nothing being hovered elsewhere. The Ezreal hover here, again, connects to the Braum ban, which otherwise it's just a junk ban. So I think Ezreal is heavily being considered, and they actually are going to flip the script and say, let's have some movement speed around the Olaf. So interesting to see the Sandbox go that way. How do Afreeca read this scenario? They haven't tipped their hat with the first round. This would be...
Ooh, some gasps from the audience right now, as could be a potential blocker pick towards the Urgot also by locking away the Sylas that we've spoken about being, in theory, a good matchup. Is going to be locked in here. Could be Keen. Could be Yukal.
And it seems like we will get that confirmation later on where the Sylas is going.
Lissandra, in theory, should be going into the mid lane, but can still be flexed.
That would be a blind pick Sylas this particular way. Victor, we still don't know if he'll be wave clearing against a Lissandra trying to contend with a Sylas. Final pick here for Sandbox.
Summit looking at his favorite pick, unless that Olaf is heading towards the top side to just dunk on the Sylas.
You see it in solo queue a bit, but that would be a pretty big surprise.
Yep, locked in here is the Aatrox, most likely heading into the hands of Summit. And Sandbox is a team that still likes to play lane Aatrox, and we've seen it still be successful here in the LCK. And Dove is going to be on the Victor, wave clear duty in the mid lane.
That part makes sense, because Lissandra versus Victor, you can go cleanse and just take a E-Hex core upgrade and be fine. Do the Lissandra thing. Don't quite have the same roam potential and can't take the teleport, so some lane assignment issues as the mid to late game crests. Summit going for the Aatrox, knowing it was very likely to be a blind Sylas, is pretty surprising to me. Maybe that's just a read from Keen, knowing Summit as a player so well, having been top lane sub for him all of 2018. Do you fit an Executioner's calling in on an Aatrox, but it feels really wonky, doesn't it, when it comes to
a little bit weird,
an Aatrox item. Now, he does have some healing reduction in the kit, so this is really intriguing here as a choice.
Yeah, he's going to have to be hitting with that Darkened Blade a whole bunch of times. See whether he can do that one, though, as this is the favorite bottom lane of Gen G, especially Life and Ruler on the Kai'Sa and the Gragas, and we've seen it work to great effect in the hands of Kingzone as well. So now going to be piloted by the Afreeca Freecs. Sylas once again makes his way onto the Rift, this time on the top side yet again. See what keystone it is going to be here for this Afreeca squad, and Keen coming off a pretty incredible MVP performance on the Jace. He's now going to be taking the new champion into the Aatrox. As you can see, this is going to be your roster, and OnFleek on the Olaf is a scary proposition because we know OnFleek for his Camille, and also a lot of early game agency is in the hands of the Viking as well.
We got this game 3 that we didn't think we would get, Atlas. Afreeca Freecs were able to fight back, and it was looking really touch and go for so much of game 2. What will game 3 have to bring us?
Well, here we are, game number 3, the deciding match between Afreeca Freecs and Sandbox Gaming. One thing I do really like about what Sandbox have put together is the fact that they've got the Tahm Kench and they've got On the Hunt on Ghost. Which you may ask why, and that's because they were winning so well macro-based and avoiding fights in game number 1 that having an extra added ability to move around the map with Joker and with an extra teammate is going to be very important for finding that sort of win condition yet again, as Aiming has found another champion like Nami with that emote spam. I haven't actually seen that one before.
His win condition is tilting the enemy AD carry with his
I think it's already worked.
1. This is a matchup I'm having a lot of fun thinking about how it works out. You'll notice both of them have the increased healing.
Yeah.
At the end of the Resolve tree, Keen has gone Aftershock. We saw Chovy pilot in the mid lane.
It's a great effect
of validity. The healing reduction that we never, ever discuss on Aatrox is on his passive, where he mutilates the enemy for 3 seconds, and that is healing reduction, but it's not on command whenever you want it, compared to holding the W, the Kingslayer, on the Sylas for a heal. So whether it actually will be the topper in these trades is going to be interesting. It has a 25-second static cooldown, but reduced by 2 seconds with Q perfect hits and also auto attacks. So whether that can actually mean that you don't have to go for what feels like a pretty wonky Executioner's calling or not, be intriguing to take, because otherwise you look at Aatrox, and with all the champions available to deal with a blind Sylas, you're not necessarily inspired.
No, absolutely not. And Keen's also saying that he doesn't care about it either, as he's putting in a lot of harassment with the abducted Skonders. I've seen this play before. That's first blood. Down onto the Tahm Kench. Joker didn't see it coming, but we did. We watched Kingzone Dragon X play that exact move against Griffin earlier in the season.
And Joker even had a heal to try to deal with it. That means he can't get back to lane for now. Doesn't his Guardian and heal easily pop? Dread's onto OnFleek and everything falling apart.
Yeah, what's happening? Dread jumping onto the Olaf as this leads in, and Afreeca looking to get themselves to 3 wins in the first round robin very early in this match.
See, there's a win here. 50-50 smite coming.
That's another fantastic body slam. Jelly's turned around a pretty forgettable performance and turned it into a game-winning one.
Well, that was definitely way faster than we expected when it came to action in the early game. Bursting in the bot side, and Joker's old man mechanics not getting the heal button pressed means he goes down. They're trying to poke around mid, and Dread trying to find a lead in every lane. Yeah,
well, he's also going to find a lead in the river as well, as double scuttle should happen, 3 buff should happen. We remember when Old Man Score put this one to the test and played it out so well. In 2018, Dread's looking to do the same thing on the Lee Sin very early against an Olaf.
Best moment of Jelly's career, and you know why it happens, Atlas? He's in the brush when he hits level 2. That means the enemy support doesn't know. They don't know that he's hit level 2 at that moment. You can, of course, infer it, given there's an 80 carry there. Yeah. But they don't put 2+2 together, and 2 is the reason that the bot lane goes down, and the blue buff is further stolen by Afreeca Freecs.
Yep, absolute disaster, because it's also making aiming so much further ahead. First blood onto a Kai'Sa, thank you very much, says the Afreeca Freecs, and this is an aiming playing with a lot more confidence than he has in the past. We remember his Ezreal not looking great. His Summit turns around the top side beautifully here. With some grass proccing and Keen without a lot of mana.
I'm actually really scared for the Aatrox, because apart from the 1 healing reduction, I know previously a melee champion dominator was Aatrox, but he's felt the bat a couple of times.
Umbral Dash is on cooldown now, as he will be able to get a knock-up onto a couple of members of Afreeca Freecs here. Dodges the Q, but the Claw of Doom comes forward. Yucal from the side, and does have Aftershock to help take the turret shot as well. Really nice play from Afreeca early.
And it reminds you of the Aurelion Sol, but it does it on the Lissandra this time, and feels bold enough to get in there with knowing his ranges. Really nice move. And this is with the Olaf jungle actually losing tempo trades in multiple lanes.
Well, he does have the Predator, but Teleport is going to counter out that one. Keen makes his way back into the lane, and no harm, no foul. Sandbox find themselves with a huge tempo disadvantage. What feels like the first time in the LCK so far.
But the happy story for the side of Afreeca is they're doing it in the lanes. That's where they were supposed to find their advantages when they went for solo queue talent and young man mechanics over any experience after losing Kuro, losing Tucson, not fielding Spirit. They were looking for outplays. We saw the earlier one in bot side. This is all about getting in there first and Olaf being behind. He's only level 3 as the play starts. We thought it's over. Yucal disagrees and gets his ranges on perfectly like a protractor.
Yeah, absolutely stunning stuff there from the Lissandra out of Yucal. In game number 1, it didn't look great at all. In game number 2, he heads up top and saves what could have been a mismanaged gank attempt. Really nice stuff here from the Afreeca Freecs, and this is them playing as a unit to the tune of 1,000 gold at 5.5 minutes. Just really impressive stuff, and it just warms the heart to watch a team that we expected to have so much more skill and more power in the LCK than they have, finally living up to the expectation for these players.
Now, Yucal has ultimate here, so Dove will have second thoughts and has not gone for a relevant shot. Double Doran's all he has. Notice that is a Hex score that is unupgraded. So very at risk of being roamed on by a team that already is cashed up after a good early game. Kai'Sa getting any autos in onto a Sivir on turret is very unlikely, just given the fact that Kai'Sa is not the best at taking turret plates, but invitations abound when the early game has gone oh so well.
Yeah, exactly, and now Yucal is free to roam things out because, like you say, Dove doesn't get the Hex core upgrade, and now Dread is going to have a buddy as he steals away yet another buff from OnFleek.
The proactive macro calls here are good from Afreeca. They know how to play around leads in their lanes. They say, this Victor can't leave lane. Hasn't gone back for a shot. Is so desperate to shot, as is confirmed by the Doinby ulting of the minion wave, that the moment that you see Dove under turret, you say, we got a free leash to go wherever we want, take whatever buff we want, and there's no way the enemy can fight for it just because Victor is madly telling OnFleek, please, I can't help, I can't respond.
Well, at the moment, Summit also can't respond as Keen just diving on with reckless abandon, trying to take down the Aatrox. This lane working out very well for the Sylas, but we were curious as to why the Aatrox was even picked. At the moment, does have parity as far as the farm is concerned. We'll be able to pick up a bunch of this underneath the turret as OnFleek looking to Predator his way forward. That's a great knock-up. Infernal Chain going to come in, but there's the World Ender onto Keen. He will be able to resurrect, but I have a feeling he's not going to go too much further. The ultimate does come down. Undertow lands. That's a great gank to come out from the Olaf to try and redeem Sandbox in the early game.
Very optimistic, the flash at the end by Keen, given that Summit just pops his own World Ender. Potentially you could return to try to dunk on the Aatrox, but it is all in service of Afreeca Freecs using their bot lane priority and Dread being level 6, picking out this string.
Yep, they will be able to take down the Cloud. Probably would have liked something a little bit nicer, but it's going to be a continued cloudy day in the forecast.
And remember, this would be both big buffs on the second spawn and both blue buffs of the game going the way of Afreeca, so this is the bonus. It's not the Drake you want, but it's a secondary objective to make it oh so much sweeter. Yeah,
absolutely. So Yukal's going to be able to take that one away as well, so Dread's taken absolutely everything away from OnFleek. Even though OnFleek has been able to farm things out nicely, a lot of his camps he has been able to take for himself, but the big buffs not going to go there as we're going to check this out once again.
I think Keen does everything right till he flashes. I think if he could have it over, he'd consider the flash for an extra half second and not flash. No way out, Summit popped ult, so he's going to be turret diving forever.
Goes the extra movement speed from that as well, so yeah, there's just no escape.
That was definitely not the flash he was looking for. But the early game has largely still been there for Afreeca. The gold lead is not being worn, but I'm just so happy that this best of 3 actually feels like a best of 3 where Afreeca have moved forward. Game number 1, they ended up just being outthought by the enemy team, but they outfought them in game number 2, and it's not a collection of best of 1s, it is actually a full 3-game series.
Well, Dread, he's going to find a kick here, gets the flash off as well as Summit's going to be thrown back towards his turret, but that's not where he wants to go.
It's the return gank we called for. We know that the ult was popped, therefore, Sitting Duck is the Aatrox, he goes down, flash still available, and Jelly says, ult time!
I've seen this one before, as that's going to be the Devour. Joker keeps Ghost alive for a little bit longer. Grey Health is going to be there, but Killer Instinct is exactly that. The last bit of the queue comes down, and Aiming grabs another kill. 2v2 bottom side.
There's just no lane control here. They're just feasting on them 2v2. Aiming and Jelly having their first pop-off performance as a duo.
Yeah, Jelly making me wonder whether or not he's just life in disguise down towards the bottom side of the map, looking real good on this Gragas. Where are the missed ults out from the Braum from game number 2? They're nowhere to be seen.
And Dove, I love the fact that our observers toggled vision. Actually, he walks up and he knows nothing, Atlas. He can't see anything on the map. There's no control wards, no regular wards, no wards at all. And that is just a symptom of him being roamed on again and again and having nowhere near priority in mid. That has been a byproduct of the excellent early game, all started by Jelly's flash in the bot lane. We're going to see the replay here. Jelly waits for his moment. He's level 6, and he definitely lets the Catfish and Sivir know about it.
Yeah, and Joker did have the Devour. He got the Grey Health at the right time, but honestly, there was no counterplay to that. Caught out of position, and Sandbox are punished.
Sandbox gaming, it was always for me about surely there has to be a fall off, and while that's not confirmed yet, second round robin's looking a lot more like it could be much more competitive from a Sandbox side. Remember, they've only lost to Griffin in terms of matches all season. Their last most recent games, if you've watched every Sandbox series, they are definitely struggling and tripping a lot more recently. They haven't had the clean closes of games that were much easier for them earlier in the season. Right now, they are at danger of being snowballed on by Afreeca Freecs. The gold lead is getting to much more relevant territory.
Yeah, exactly, and Afreeca do have a monopoly on the Dragons as well. A second Cloud Drake you may not necessarily feel like is a whole lot of a big deal, but when you've got Abyssal Voyage, countering that with extra movement speed is actually really, really nice. It's on Fleek. Oh, he might get kicked. Not going to happen. The Ragnarok is going to be there as Yukal wanting to follow up, and it's not going to last for that long here. Level 7, Keen going to grab it with the very ends of the Chain Lash. And Yukal does have the ultimate, so the Infernal Chains is not going to be doing anything here to threaten any sort of kill. And now the Rift Herald is going to be taken down. Afreeca are just storming Summoner's Rift by force.
Another proactive macro call being made. They move their bot lane to the mid. They do give up turret plates for this.
Oh my god, Yukal. He will not stop. Teleport immediately towards the bottom side. He is everywhere on the map right now. Another special delivery. The ward comes in. Joker, sorry, buddy. You ain't going anywhere. You are food for our Kai'Sa, who's getting well fed at this stage of the game. Summit tries to help out here, aiming very, very low. Keen has a Chaos Storm, though, as he dives on forward, and Ghost, no reaction. Chaos Storms everywhere, but I'm scared of Keen's one as Dove underneath the turret now. Ghost here as well, and Afreeca Freecs, they just want to continue pushing forward.
A huge see your death moment for Summit. He was too far gone. The teleport being followed there enough to guarantee his death. Turret plate goes to aiming. This game is falling apart for Afreeca, and this is why they wanted to run these 5 players. If you get the lane lead and can just make it about which aggressive move are you feeling, Jelly and Dread, everything slides into pace, and they actually look like a contender team.
I just don't know how aiming has turned around his performance this incredibly night and day in one single series. I mean, game number 1, he was even a passenger.
You know why? Because it hasn't been about aiming. He is the benefactor of first Jelly. Then is Lee Sin. This time it's another roam coming through. Jelly is just presenting the dinner on the most appetizing platter again and again. And it's a smorgasbord of kills for the Kaiser to feast off. Deep teleport comes in from Summit. Unfortunately, they didn't do their due diligences, and there was another teleport there to follow. He goes down, and it's because aiming hasn't had to be the one that just farms it out and then makes the clutch play. The clutch plays are much less clutch when everyone else on your team's popping off.
Yeah, but now you got Shelly. She's going to beat the heck out of this top outer turret. That's first turret blood going over to the Afreeca Freecs. Absolutely everything there. 1 kill away from a perfect game. And if you remember the old story about the Afreeca Freecs, it was game number 1 was always their thing. It was just in the bag almost every single time, and then we go to a game number 3. It's been turned on its head here in 2019. Feels like game 3, feeling very in the bag here for the Afreeca Freecs.
And for Afreeca fans, if you add the nameplates and leave them on, remember with Jin Air series we always say nameplates off, it's Jin Air, okay. This is Afreeca playing the aggressive style that this roster on paper was built to do against one of our contender teams. If you can pay this forward, like we asked Kingzone to do based on their Jin Air performance, this Afreeca performance could actually threaten every other team in the entire league. Even Griffin would be under the magnifying glass a little bit if you could get away with this level of aggression against everyone. Speaking of aggression, they're still going. They never stop.
Hey guys, King can dive this one pretty easily. He's got a world ender that he picked up for himself. They're going to decide not to. They're just going to guarantee this outer turret bottom side of the map. They take the percentage play. Shows that Afreeca, not only can they be relentless in their aggression in this particular form, but they can also manage to play reserved. I don't know what happened. They've been having the Michael Secret stuff. This is some Space Jam level performance here in the last couple of games for the Afreeca Freecs.
And now I'm going to be greedy and want them to win purely because they'll actually put microphones in front of the people we want to talk to and hopefully get some answers, because we need to know how. What's the secret stuff? How many wheat picks do they eat? We have more questions, Atlas, but very few answers.
Yeah, Keen, let us know. Let us know what the answer is, as he's going for the fun build on the Silas as well. Proto Belt into the Zhonya's Hourglass. He's ready to tango. He's got a lot of extra damage available for himself, and we thought we'd probably be seeing this mostly from mid lane Silas's, but I'm glad that Keen is sticking to his guns, and he's going damage. 40k on the Jace in game number 2. Might be able to get some more work done here on the Silas.
180 now on the IE rush. He's had IE for a while, and will have a huge gold lead here.
900 gold bounty at 16 minutes in the game.
1900 gold lead at 16 minutes in the game, in the 2v2, purely because his support ultra dunked lane.
Yeah, he did.
Good time to remind the viewers, I actually mentioned this anecdote already, but I spoke to Gorilla about what he thought about the new supports coming into the league.
Yeah.
New starting supports of Jelly and also Life. His analysis was, I think Jelly will perform from day one because he's been around the pro scene for a long time without starting in the LCK, and Life will take time. It ended up being flipped, right? We saw Life have some good games only on the Gragas and then fall away. This is the debut Jelly's been craving, and it's why Jelly was actually considered a very possible starter for Afreeca when they missed out on some of the big-name free agents that went elsewhere.
Yeah, and I guess we're not missing Proud as well, who won't be on the roster for the second round robin here for the Afreeca Freecs. Certainly not going to be needed to be subbed in, and Spirit may not need to play support anymore this season.
Things can always change. The game is not over, but Afreeca have shown a performance better than every other game they've played so far this season, finally. And it's right at the end of the first round robin, where if they go 3-7, the line is usually what? 10 match wins is kind of the least optimistic. 9 or 8 sometimes gets you into top 5, so 9 is probably the line. 6-3, based on this performance, is a possible, but you need to actually vindicate the first 20 minutes with a strong end of the game and then get rolling.
Yeah, often 10 means that playoffs are almost guaranteed, so
9 and 8 is possible.
Yeah, that's very true. So aiming, trying to get some cheeky shots here onto this outer turret, but we know cheeky shots on an outer turret with a 500-odd range 80 carries, bad move. We learned that. Thank you very much, KT Rollster.
Afreeca have great map mobility, very, very slippery lineup, and Kaiser can just join if any of those smorgasbords are actually served up.
Yeah, and I actually love it that, you know, Sandbox built themselves this on-the-hunt comp with Abyssal Voyage. They can get around the map, everything's great, and Afreeca showed us that you don't need that. You just need really good teleports from Alessandra, who goes top, gets a kill, teleports bot, wins a skirmish.
So the question now from Afreeca fans, for once, is how do we win the game, sir? Because they really haven't had any ways to do that or been in a position to do that in the past. They are very far ahead at 18 minutes, and the Baron being on the Rift is very important for them. Their Baron turn and Baron damage are both massive. Yes, Lissandra doesn't help, Sylas only okay, but the Kai'Sa's so far ahead with Rageblade Infinity Edge that she will do a lot of Baron damage, and their turn of Lissandra or Gragas or Lee Sin Kick will get them kills that Kai'Sa will swoop on it. So it's kind of a B to B minus speed, but an A to A plus turn that makes Baron, with this gold lead, very viable. They're not going to die to the objective either because they have some decently tanky members. So given that, finding mid lane turret and then getting those control wards down is the easiest way for Afreeca to actually get a game-closing lead.
Well, Dread also doesn't want OnFleek to get any buffs this game, as Keen once again flanking. Worldender is available, not going to go for it, as they've decided that their objective is going to be the Brambleback. It's stolen away there by Dread. They've got 2 red buffs on them, and I really like that. Keen listening to his team, not making the engagement. When he had the big button, he's going to wait. He's going to bide his time, and now the rest of the team are going to continue sieging here on this outer turret in the mid lane. Ultimate coming in there onto OnFleek, I believe. Very interesting. No, actually, it was just a circle of frost, as here's the engagement. The ultimate barrel is going to go wide, but Joker just dies as an afterthought. You've got Chaos Storm flying in there. Summit gets into the backline, though. Worldender keeping him alive, but aiming, just taking no damage from this Aatrox, and Keen with the chain lashes zoning everyone out of the way. Afreeca just feel too far ahead.
For the bowl, the spoils, that play works if you're even in goal, but from behind, the damage just doesn't stick like it looks like it will. If you're looking at it zoomed in and remembering the shy, you think people are going to explode.
Go, splash forward from aiming. This is the guy we wanted to see.
Really nice ending there that actually gets them the further kill as well. The gold lead, the nurse to Aatrox, everything coalesce in another good moment for Afreeca. And when you have the good early start, this collection of 5 players should be able to have more often than not. You can make some mistakes, you can go aggressive, and you can find advantages.
Yeah, I've seen this before where OnFleek comes in and just takes away a buff like this, but that's not this game. This is a game where an AD carry and a top laner are just going to steal it from under the jungler's nose. Let's have a look at this fight yet again.
Far from perfect. Jelly misses his ultimate this time, but Keen has the Aatrox ult and says, Sivir, you're doing nothing. And Sivir doesn't get to do anything at the start. It's a huge entrance from Summit, but he doesn't have the items. He doesn't have the damage to actually threaten the backline. And the insult on injury, the thing we've talked about all day, is that last kill from him.
Yeah, everyone just moving on out of the way, and aiming says, well, Ghost, if you're going to stay here, you're going to die.
Voidseeker hits and it's absorbed, but look at how much damage he gets in. How many crits is that? It's just 1 crit. It's not even a high roll on 2 crits.
Yeah,
it's 1 crit, 1 auto, and a Q, and he's just dead.
Acathian Rain is pretty damn strong once you've got that evolved and you have these couple of items. Make that almost 3 for aiming, as the Runan's Hurricane is very, very close. And he's got that secondary evolve on the Supercharger now. The Kai'Sa, we mentioned, you know, Kai'Sa getting online, you know, and feeling like 3 items is good. This feels like 2.5 items is about all you need for aiming to win the game. He's extraordinarily strong. It's Baron, that is Soul Vision, available for Afreeca Freecs. As Joker, he's a passenger this game, and he's a passenger that wants to get off the Sandbox Wild Ride.
And now, the Abyssal Voyage doesn't allow them to out-rotate the enemy because it's such a long lane for them to face. They only have a single turret. And when you consider the champions they have, how many of them do something proactively and do it reliably? If you think about it, they have Aatrox, who, you know, shifts around, but at this point isn't going to be doing too much. Olaf can't run in, he's going to die. He doesn't have enough gold and didn't get a good start in this game. Victor's a reactive champion. Sivir kind of wants 4 or 5 items before she's just rushing in with her ultimate.
Yeah.
And we already mentioned the Abyssal Voyage, so from behind you're seeing the ultra worst side of this Sandbox comp. Usually dropping this Sandbox comp against Afreeca would work perfectly because you go blow for blow in the early game, Afreeca aren't feeling bold enough to make plays, and then Olaf comes in with Abyssal Voyage and is getting a kill, or the Sivir is hitting her items in a relevant time. They're 6,000 gold behind because Afreeca have awoken the dragon in a way that only Spear of Shojin should allow, and now suddenly there's so much darkness on the map, and there's no flanks because they just don't have the vision to make those plays.
And they're just playing with all the confidence that we know a lot of these players can play around with as well. So Dread now, you know, new player, you mentioned his solo queue, the guy is a complete monster, playing with incredible momentum. UCal also having a day out here. His performance so far today has just been incredible. Night and day from the UCals that we've been seeing in the past. Hurricane gives aiming a little bit of a rude awakening, but he's got his Runan's Hurricane completed. 3 items now on the Kai'Sa.
If he doesn't die, this is pentakill speed.
Dread's dead.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's odd.
That was definitely a bit bold of an overextension with no flash. Just kind of died way faster.
We're going to call that a unique play.
Dove hasn't been around, so his damage hasn't been relevant, because by the time he uses ult, so many other things have happened. It's slowly creeping after someone who already picked up a kill.
Yeah.
That was the solo queue throw there from good old Dread. But hopefully they can ready the ship. We'll watch the replay here. The Baron being aggroed is the first problem, and then the damage here doesn't even need the ult.
Yeah. Chaos Storm just for fun, I guess. He's going to have that one back off cooldown relatively quickly, so no worries there. Leandri's Torment was what he was gifted. After that one comes in, a good news story for Sandbox Gaming. They've got themselves 1 turret and 3 kills, and that is all they can hang their hat on. Next Drake is going to be an Infernal. Afreeca finally going to get rewarded for killing so many clouds. Seems like once you get over that, you find the sun, and I guess that does make sense. I've been on a plane before.
And they get at least one more oopsie if it happens pre-30 minutes, because Sandbox really aren't in a position to feast on mistakes in the biggest possible way. Now they have to even get to the Baron pit, aiming exploding Baron.
Well, you've got UCal able to get a fantastic flank here from the top side as well. They don't know anything. Circle of Frost lands on 2. Dub has to go golden immediately. Joker's out of the fight. Dread makes it out, but that's exactly what he wants to do. But Summit is battling all of them. Worldender comes through. The Victor, the only one to die just yet, as Summit can't get on aiming. Man, that was close, though.
It was. He was fighting in melee range of the Aatrox. 1 nerf less and he dies. He lives through it, though, and that means that they get away with this one.
Keen looking to jump on top. That's 1 spell shield, but you need so many for Silas. And he's once again in the wrong position. This is the Ghost that I remember from 2018.
Holy moly. They're going to get back onto the Baron. Aiming gets to lifesteal up. They're going to still try the Baron here, and Sandbox, are we going to Abyssal Voyage into the pit is the question.
And this is what I've wanted to see this entire year, Papa Smithy. They are going to jump on the Baron, but look at this. UCal and Keen roaming around as the death squad that we know they'd be capable of. Jelly going to join in here as on fleek. Yeah, you don't have Ragnarok anymore, my friend. You're going to get flanked. We're staggering the backs as the Abscond comes forward. Keen, special delivery. You're going to get a kill, and the Baron as aiming is chasing Catfish. I think I know what's for dinner tonight, Papa Smithy.
Well, it's looking pretty juicy. Joker puts a wall over. I don't really know why.
Can you? Oh, he didn't go for the spit out over the wall, which would have been very cute. Grey Health is there, and Joker had no summoner spells, so couldn't even waste them towards the end of that little skirmish. Adorable, but Afreeca will take absolutely everything. Dove going to come on down. Dread's got the smite, though, and Keen. Oh, not going to find the Abscond there as the Chaos Storm does come in. Kingslayer not going to be doing what we want it to, as Dread having to move away from this Infernal is exactly what he doesn't want to do. And now the kickback. Oh, God, they're just so far behind. Sandbox, I mean, in any other game, they would have a fantastic advantage, but right now, Ghost is in the wrong game of League of Legends. By the looks of things, he thought that he was blue side.
We haven't even been able to show a replay of the Baron because the action only curtails now.
Yeah.
2 minutes of Fiesta fighting, but all to the advantage of Afreeca Freecs. That's been 20 kills in 26 minutes. I love it. 4 Drakes as well.
27 minutes now as we tick over, and it is over 10,000 gold. 11,000, and we're looking to try and break the base 27 minutes in. This is game 1 of Freeca Freecs from years gone by that we loved watching, that had so much clean play, so much aggression that this team was known for. They changed a whole lot about the squad, but we thought that with Keen still there, they'd be able to make these plays. It's only until the very last game in the first round robin of the Spring Split 2019 that we get to see the potential of these players.
And the potential that was always theoretical is starting to become factual. This is a really big game that causes the next opponent of Afreeca to reevaluate what they will be facing. They seem to have finally found some momentum. And That is with Spirit not actually hitting the Rift for any of the 3 games. Let's go way, way, way back to about 22 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And understand how this all comes together, because this almost goes real bad. As you watch aiming, he's actually flanked by Summit, and Summit gets to just weave his spells and maximize damage. Literally, 1 nerf earlier, he's dead.
Yeah.
And this play is over.
Oh, 1 longsword that Summit would be able to pick up this game, and he's dead.
Thanks for the memories, says the Lice engage from Lissandra. The fight continues to go on. This is Ghost bouncing in and finding the bad news.
That's inting, this is what I call that. Bad
Tomato,
news,
tomato. As when we come to the Infernal, Sandbox is doing way more damage, and Keen plays this about as bad as possible. But they're over 10,000 gold ahead, and this is what I thought Afreeca would be, Atlas. I thought they would make their mistakes, be too bold, but actually have the leads to make the mistakes. Speaking of mistakes.
Yeah, that was pay to win from Keen there. Just understanding he's got way more gold, he can pay for the victories. The Abscond is going to pull him right on top of the Olaf. It's melee range as Yukal is going to go golden. Massive explosion in the backline as Jelly demonstrating who the best Gragas is, or doing his best impression. Joker going to explode like he has done all game, and that's going to be it. Afreeca Freecs are going to do what we thought was impossible and take down Sandbox after what was an extraordinary disaster of a game number 1. Aiming wanting to use all the cooldowns that he possibly can before eradicating the map of this Nexus.
And it's so much more than the series scoreline. The plummet was done with is unbelievable. They have 20 kills to the 3 of the enemy. They flex with their mechanical monsters, and for once the monster is a toothy one that looks really damn scary to face check. They go in there, Yukal gets out of lane and gets going. Not on the Aurelion Soul like we might have expected, but it all came together on the Lissandra especially. And Afreeca Freecs, this is a team we've been searching for. Where were the signs? They weren't there for 8 best of 3s, but they smashed them in your face in the 9th best of 3. And what a different proposition the second round robin is now for Afreeca than it was before today.
And the way to epitomize this victory over their other victories is, in other Afreeca Freecs victories, you're wondering who you're going to give the MVP to. You're like, oh, who's it going to be? This was a messy game. I don't know who was perfect in this game. In this one, I want to give it to both Yukal and Jelly for playing out of their minds.
And that, of course, is Keen doing well earlier in the series. And Atlas, it's way more significant than you're building it up, because they beat Gen G with autofill shenanigans Spirit, and we said, you won, but Gen G's out of form, and you're not going to be able to actually turn this into something. They beat Jin Air, and we now know that also means very little. They beat Sandbox, and the way they beat them is the scary thing. They do it from actual core tendencies they can pay forward against other opposition. Not many team, player for player, have the on-paper talent that just hadn't blossomed before today. They blossom in front of our eyes as a squad, as you mentioned. All 5 players at different times having big performances, aiming included. And now, we look at their next opponent, which we have a moment here to open up. When they open up the second round robin, it will be Afreeca Freecs. They will be battling against Hanwha Life. That was looking like a joke matchup. Now it's looking like must-watch.
Exactly, because now the Afreeca Freecs have taken down a theoretical opponent that is better than Hanwha Life Esports, and we could have the resurgence of the Afreeca Freecs.
I hope they can at least, whatever their final scoreline, play in this style and hold people accountable. Be a dream crusher at worst and a playoffs team at best, because even if they can make top 5, they might get some smiling aiming moments that can make their fans, who clearly have suffered with them based on the reactions after game number 2, reach the ecstasy that on paper was possible to me, and I think a lot of fans who've tracked these players on other teams.
Yeah, and I looked at this Afreeca roster at the beginning of the year, and I was licking my lips. I was so excited about early game plays, about laning out plays from Yukal, from Keen, young talent that has already proven themselves to be fantastic on the biggest of stages. Keen maybe less so, but did have some great performances in a 1v9 scenario whilst representing the Afreeca Freecs in 2018. We thought that it could come together now and be that big Afreeca Freecs resurgence and not the disappointment that they were. Beginning of the year, disaster. Now, possibly breathing some life. We don't want to jump straight into getting excited, but I'm ready to be excited.
We got to hold hands, we got to hold shows, because this could be the turning point for Afreeca Freecs as an org in League of Legends, or it could be a one-day pop-up. We can't know. Only in hindsight will be able to fully understand whether today is a significant day or just one of those things you throw off. As the first highlight is Jelly having his only bad cast of the game.
Oh, that's so rude. It's so not fair. That's like if you started this game with a highlight of him missing a glacial fissure from game 2. That's not fair at all.
But you know what? They won, and I think they'll take
did.
it. Well, Afreeca Freecs, they played so brazenly aggressive, but this is what Season 9 meta was foretold to be. Find your aggressive players and punish the enemy. So they said, look, Kuro, you've been a great servant for us, the captain of the team, but after Worlds, we need a change. They bring in Yukal. They think he can be the tool. They say, Spirit, sorry, mate, you're on the bench. Dread is our starting jungler. And you understand. You put it all together and say, yes, I can see it. But it doesn't matter when everything falls apart more often than not. It took them 9 best of 3s and a lot of experiments with Spirit to get to today. And yet we still don't know if it's just a one-day pop-up.
Yeah, precisely. So we'll see what they can do against Hanwha. It's fantastic that we do get that matchup as the next one, because that is a true test for the Afreeca Freecs to show that they've improved and to show that it's not just a fluke. As Keen stealing on the hunt to instantly use it and chase down kills here is really exciting. Yukal able to actually utilize it here against Ghost. Ghost having nowhere to go, actually. And this is just showing, honestly, Afreeca Freecs smacking Sandbox with their wallets towards the end of this game. It was the mastery of aggression in the early game that was so impressive. Watching an Olaf get smashed by a Lee Sin in the early game, 3-buffed and double scuttled, is just something that we've never had to talk about yet. But it was honestly a beautiful team effort from Afreeca to make sure that they had that huge advantage and then pushed it relentlessly further full.
3 people had more damage dealt than the highest damage deal, and that was the guy who literally didn't even really do anything this game. He might as well have been top lane Nasus. The Victor was just farming, and then got a nice pick onto a Lee Sin, but other than that, it didn't matter. So you're right. I love the adage of smacking them with their wallets, because that's what Afreeca should do. We're better laners than you. We're talented. We'll get a gold lead, and sometimes we'll mess it up. Dread will face check when he shouldn't, but other times things will happen as Aiming gets only his 2nd MVP of recent memory, 7-0-7. This is the man who might actually retain his spot when Soul comes in for competition next time out.
Yeah, I think that might be why he's given the MVP here, because I wouldn't have personally given to him. I thought Jelly was absolutely amazing, and I thought Yukal, this play in particular, was mere seconds after Yukal was killing someone topside.
I guess we just want to talk to Aiming, because Jelly is ultra wrong in this game. It's
super
almost like
wrong.
the game happened. They're like, wait, roll the highlight package a bit later. Okay, now it makes
exactly.
perfect sense. What else did he do?
They skipped the early game where Afreeca actually won the game, and then went to all of the weird shenanigans where Jelly was throwing ults around, just having a great time.
How could it not be?
Oh, man. Well, if you only watch the highlight package, then you're like, you casters are so stupid. Why? Of course you're giving it to the Kaiser. You flashed in on the Sivir. But no. He didn't deserve it, but that's okay. We're still going to chat to him, and he had a great game regardless. So let's throw it to Ji-Sun for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is today's last interview translation, and we're going to be joined by Keen, Aiming from Afreeca Freecs. How do you feel right now with this victory? Yeah, our team was on quite a really low because we were losing a lot, but I think it's a big relief that we got the victory today. And Aiming, there were a lot of fans caught on camera crying after you guys win the game. Is there a message for them? I mean, we have been losing a lot. I know that our fans have been really unhappy about this, but I'm really happy that we finally took down Sandbox today. And Keen, I have never seen a top laner carrying a game so hard. So did you get to talk to Summit before game today? Well, actually we did not, but before game, well, I just sat on my seat, but I saw Summit right next to me, so that was a really exciting experience. So then, what kind of thought came to your mind the moment when you checked the damage graph? Well, I didn't know that I did that much damage during the game, but so after checking the graph, I was really amazed. Well, it is not easy to carry a game as a top laner, but game 2, a lot of players are playing around the top lane, so was that a plan in advance? Yeah, we did kind of plan that. And I'm really happy that we did as we planned. And you bought QSS in a really early stage of games. Does that reflect your thought that you should not never get caught out? About the QSS build, well, I had a lot of pressure about Zoe's trouble bubbles, so that's why. And let's check out this solo kill clip over here. Well, I was fed quite well, but Summit was pushing lane, like over pushing, so I just wanted to punish him. But he didn't really die. It took so much time. Did you feel it was really dangerous to go that deep? Well, no, I had confidence though, not really. And moving on to game 3, someone said, Keen, you carried game 2 so hard that made all the other Afreeca players perform so well in game 3. I think that is true. Did Keen tell you something after game 2? Well, we just said that Keen, you did a really great job. So, your item build on Kaisa was IE and then the Rage Blade. Well, a lot of players are trying some different item builds, so what is the best one for her? I think, you know, the best item build for me, I think it's the IE, because you want to upgrade your Q. And in the early game, you guys picked up Tom Catch twice, even without ganks. Whose call was that? At first, it was Jealous decision. He said he's gonna engage, and I told him I can follow. But do you remember the second one? I don't really remember, but maybe, yeah, we were having good teamwork. Then let's check out this team fight over here that ended the game. You guys were trying Baron, and then he just opened the team fight over the wall. Was that a bait, or? Well, we made a call that if we are able to open team fight, we were 100% sure that we can win every team fight. So yeah, that was kind of planned. So, Afreeca Freecs finally won, picking up 2-1 victory today. So this will be the end of your first round. What is your goal for the second round? In the current situation, our first goal is to get out of the relegations, you know, and we have to focus on improving our performance. What about you, Aiming? What's your goal? Well, I just want to get out of the relegation and also want to reach up to the 5th place. This was the last match for Afreeca Freecs, and there were a lot of fans out here supporting you guys. We were on a very big losing streak, so a lot of our fans are so concerned. So I always appreciate all the love and support, so I just want to make it up to my fans with great performance. Thank you. So this will be the end of the interview with Keen and Aiming from Afreeca. And I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jisun. Fantastic that so many of our Afreeca fans stay in the audience to celebrate them in this an auspicious win against Sandbox Gaming. We can't talk it up enough how important it is that they get a win against a top team like this. If they had have beaten, say, KT or Kingzone even because of their inconsistency problems, finding a win against the number 2 team will fuel Afreeca Freecs to find something better in the future and possibly challenge Halma Life Esports as well.
It was just a real pleasure of a best of 3. It went all 3 games and we wanted them all. And there was a lot of Season 9 League of Legends played in these games. Yes, there are more mistakes than some of our banger 3-game series of old, but that's what the meta heralds with all the lack of vision and all the aggression that's rewarded. And I love how Afreeca could play so aggressively, make it work, and because they found a win, their game score is in the toilet. They're -8.
Yeah.
But they're 7th right now, and they're closer to 5th than perhaps you might consider with how abjectly poor they've been over the course of 2019.
Exactly right. So round 1 is going to conclude tomorrow. Hanwha Life taking on Damwon Gaming, and then we will have our first look after all the teams have met one another in the standings. It's not going to be that 9-8, 7-6, 5, 4, 3 anymore because Sandbox dropped it. They dropped the ball, Papa Smithy. But then, KT versus Griffin.
Again.
Griffin's Kryptonite in 2018, but Punching Bag in 2019 was the result very recently when these teams just faced. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be tomorrow, but for tonight, that is going to do it from us. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you tune in again tomorrow for some more Papa Smithy, joined by Valdez that time around. I'm going to take a bit of a rest after what has been an emotional roller coaster.
You get together,
these two matches.
you'll need to come back on Sunday. There could be a lot of fun tomorrow. We think we know the way the games will go, but that first series especially is a banger.
Yeah, that certainly is. And Sunday I'll be joined by LS as well, and he can tell us about his BBQ strategies on